But one of the things that I've really come to notice, and it's kind of a mindfulness thing, as I go through, the sort of the working out of this thing is, and I'm mindful of it every single day, every single day. In fact, I even shared this with my physical therapist who didn't know about the research. Um, but the research is something called the 40% principle. And the 40% principle is that the way that we are wired, that basically when we get to a an exertion point, to push and go harder, go farther, go faster, or push through something, the system is wired to, at about 40% of how far you can go. The 40% rule says, the system says, okay, you've reached your limit. And we kind of, oh, that's all I can do. And the system will lie to us, probably out of protective measure, right? But basically, here's the thing. When our system, the most says, I can't do another rep. You see the guy in the gym going, you can do it. Come on, one more. Give me one more. Give me. And they keep pushing and they find out they can, right? Or whatever it is, that our individually by ourselves, our system will tell us that's all you can do. You can't do this. You can't go the next step. You can't take that course. You can't confront that person. You just can't get up and go to work today. You can't, you can't, you're at your limit. Well, we're by and large, a lot of times, we're not at our limit. We're at the limit that our brain tells us we're at. And so, as I've been applying that, one of probably the most difficult thing for me in all of this is, your knee has to bend at an angle and it's all clogged up with stuff in here. And so trying to get more of this movement out of it is made in millimeters. And so I'll get it as far as I can in a chair and I'm pushing. And I can see the dust on the floor. And I'm looking to get my toe to the next particle of dust. It might be that much. And I'm thinking it's as far as it'll go, as far as I'll go. And I'll go 40%, 40%. Keep pushing. And the pain is saying, don't push, don't push, don't push. And you're going, keep pushing, keep pushing. And then you see that next speck of dust and you've claimed ground. Well, it's not just in physical pain, but this feeling that we've hit our limit is basically in you, something that's going to kick in anytime you are in what your mind perceives as kind of uncharted territory or painful territory or scary territory. Okay. So here's what happens, all of us have this circle of today's functioning that we operate in. All right. And that's where we operate in. Well, you get into a relationship, and let's say you got to take the next step that requires you to get out of that circle of competency and comfort. You've always heard the phrase comfort zone. Well, that's a reality, a comfort zone. We're comfortable here. But to step out and raise your hand and say, you know what, I've got a different opinion than that. Or, you know what, I disagree with that. Or, no, that's not something I want to do. Or, no, I'm not going to subject myself to that anymore because that hurts me. Or, no, I can't do that because I really want to spend my time in a different way. Or whatever that is. Then we hit that limit, you know? At that moment, when it's time to step out of that, what happens is everything in you says, no, don't do that. No, you can't do that. No, don't do that. No, you can't do that. And I want you today to take away and figure out in your own circle of what the next little place is outside the circle. I want you to start to notice moment by moment when you hit that. No, don't say that. No, don't do that. No, that's too hard. No, that won't work. No, I don't have the money for that. No, I'd probably fail. No, what if they laughed at me? Well, my mother wouldn't like that. Whatever that is, you're being invited. You're being invited to reclaim some ground. But the most important piece of this is to notice the trigger of when it says you're in scary land now. Okay. Now your system will interpret that trigger as back off, back off, go back to where it's comfortable, go back to where it's comfortable. It's like, I'm training a Doberman Pinscher right now. And, one of the things that is effective in some aspects of training are, and don't go write me letters that this is mean. I know there's a lot of opinions. I would never hurt my dog. I promise you. They're blunted, but the little pinch collars, the way they work. Now the way they're destructive, if you're yanking on a dog, don't do that. But the way they're worked is that they move. And if a dog is pulling, it's going to feel some pressure like that. And what you do is you hold still, and then as soon as they move back, you release it and they learn, oh, I moved back. Now I'm comfortable again. And then they learn to not pull. And I know there's gentle leads, and I'm just illustrating the principle here. I know I'm going to get letters about this. I am a dog lover. I won't hurt my dog, I promise you. But they learn, oh, when I push, I feel discomfort. I'll back up. Oh, I'm back in comfort zone. That's how it is with us. Okay. But you're supposed to be a free, autonomous person. You're not supposed to be somebody that somebody else has a leash on you, holding you back from your next gaining ground. And we have leashes on us in our heads where mom or dad or schools or teachers or philosophies or religious systems or, whoever it was, past exes, they've got a leash. And when you say, I'm going to speak up, they pull the pressure and you go, okay, I won't. You back up and the pressure's gone. Now you feel comfortable. And that, my friends, is how life remains very, very, very small. Very small. There's a comfort zone. Problem is, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. There's very, 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 very few aspects in life where we can kind of remain neutral growth, where we're not going forward or backward, we're just sitting in one place. That's so rare for so many reasons. The truth is, if we're not getting stronger, we are getting weaker, we're getting smaller, and we're reducing life. So the lesson is this: learn through being mindful. Like Psalm 139 says, God, try my anxious thoughts, test my anxious thoughts, and see if there's any hurtful way in me, and lead me into the way of the everlasting. So, God, when I say I want to speak up on the team, or I want to say to the family, this addiction that's going on over here, hurting all of us, that's not okay, or whatever it is. When I want to do that, and I have an anxious thought, I want you to recognize that and get above that thought and say, that's just a leash. That's just a leash. And it's time for me to step into that space with the right support and the right help and reclaim that ground. One little quick story. I remember a woman that had been married to a abusive man that, kept her down, called her stupid. You wouldn't do anything without me. You'd have no life without me. You can't. And he kind of kept her down. And so, she was in that role, that kind of, sort of weird marriage. And then she gets to be, what, 50, late 40s. And finally he moves on. She's devastated, but she realizes she doesn't know what she's going to do. She has no skills. She hasn't done anything. She's living in a shadow, all of that. But I remember saying to her, you are so smart. You can do anything you want to do. What do you want to do? And so we started to work on unearthing the dreams in her and what she wanted to do. And what she wanted to do, she had actually had experience in, and ideas and talents and abilities, and actually some access to some networks that this could work in. But it was going to require some certifications and a few courses. and she had some hours, and long story short, she was going to have to go back to school for a year or so. And I said, "Well, come on, let's do it. Apply." She literally, she said, "I can't." I go to pick up the phone to call the school and get an application. This is before you could do it online. Get an application. She said, "I can't." All I can hear is my husband telling me, "They'll never accept you. You're too old to get back in school. Won't even do any good to apply." And she said, "I just can't do it." So brought her into my office one day. She's sitting up there in the waiting room. I brought her in the office one day and I said, "There's a phone. We're going to call." And she goes, "Wait a minute. So you're going to call me? You're going to ask for an application?" And so through fear and trepidation, she noticed the trigger, but she pushed through it and she reclaimed that next little piece of ground. Well, you reclaim that, you reclaim that, and you reclaim that, and you reclaim that, and reclaim that, and reclaim that. And now she actually runs, she might be retired by now. She runs a company that does her dream. It was all not listen to the voice. That's all it was. Everything else was there that was needed. So come to that moment. Don't believe the 40% that you've hit your limit.